Hello everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Getting paid to call out sick.
We don't want people going to work sick who are serving food.
One Maine city is thinking about requiring paid sick leave for all employees. Get your phones out and get ready to vote because that's the topic of tonight's Pulse Poll.
Black Lives Matter.
Protesters descend on the Attorney General's office claiming an officer-involved shooting was motivated by race.
It was pretty heartbreaking to hear that.
Thousands of dollars in recycled cans and bottles stolen from two kids just trying to raise money for cancer research.
This is News Center Now.
When germs are spreading around the office, boss tells you stay home sick, don't come to work, but so many of us can't afford to take time off. Hi everybody, I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Should employers have to provide paid sick leave? Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com to vote or open the Pulse tab on our mobile apps. Tonight, one Maine city will debate a new ordinance requiring paychecks for time off. If approved, it would be the first city in Maine to mandate sick leave.
I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It depends potentially how it's executed.
Bingham Stadium in Portland would be one of the many businesses impacted by a proposed ordinance to pay workers even when they call out sick. Restaurant owner Alec Altman has 3 locations. This is the only one in Portland where the ordinance was proposed. And he employs a couple dozen waitstaff here who mostly work for tips. But under this plan, a sick day would only be worth a shift at minimum wage, about $10 an hour.
You're looking at maybe half to a third of what they might earn in a shift. You can tell somebody they take a paid day off, but if a paid day off costs them $100, they might still want to be coming into work.
Mayor Ethan Strimling, who is behind the proposed plan, says there are an estimated 19,000 workers in the city of Portland who aren't paid for sick days.
We don't want people going to work sick who are serving food, who are performing child care or elder care. These are some of the areas that we know people don't have paid time off, so we want to make sure that they get it.
If the city council approves the plan, employees would accrue 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked.
Counting hours is not something that I would look forward to doing.
Altman isn't too worried about the overall cost, but he says the red tape could get to be too much.
As a business owner, I'd be much in favor of 2 days for 6 months or 4 days for a year, where it's a lot easier to keep track of.
Strimling says the city would be tasked with enforcement to make sure people don't take days when they really don't need to. However, exactly who at the city would handle that remains unclear.
I believe that we could probably do this within existing resources.
And right now, most of you are saying, 68% of you saying yes, that employers should have to provide paid sick leave. But you can tell city councilors exactly what you think at tomorrow night's city council hearing. It's a public hearing. It starts at 5:30. And just to be clear, it's tomorrow night. There's still time also to vote in today's Pulse poll. We will share our results at the end of the show.
News Center Maine will be in court tomorrow to demand transparency in the cases of 2 young Maine girls who were allegedly murdered at the hands of their caregivers. Maine's Department of Health and Human Services has denied repeated requests for information about how it handled the child abuse cases of Marissa Kennedy and Kendall Chick. Both girls were brutally beaten to death, and their guardians are charged with the crime. DHHS was involved in both cases, but we don't know to what extent. A judge will determine whether or not DHHS is required to release these case files to the public. We believe the public deserves to know how its taxpayer-funded government is run in order to prevent future deaths. Now's Christina Rex will be in the courtroom tomorrow.
All right, it's day 3 of our sunny streak. Look at it out there. Absolutely beautiful. Keith is outside enjoying that weather. Keith, what's the latest?
That's
is that
weird. Keith's outside, sunglasses and everything, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I do it during the winter, so I think I should be allowed to do it when it's nice as well. Mild today. We've had 3 nice days in a row after a really tough pattern that we had in between. Temperatures actually had overperformed for a while, but the sea breeze has kicked in along the coastline, dropping temperatures back into the 50s there. Inland still into the mid-60s. Tomorrow has a chance actually to be even warmer. And it's not just the temperatures, it's been the sunshine, totally abundant across the entire state. It's rare that you get satellite pictures that are this clean. In fact, All you can see on the satellite, if you looked closely, is snowpack still in the mountains. There's very little cloud cover, just a little bit across parts of Canada. And if we zoom out on the wider scale, you'll see a storm system to our south and west. That looks like it's relatively close. It's moving into the mid-Atlantic already, but because of this ridge of high pressure, it's going to take until Wednesday to get here. In between, we have tomorrow, which should be the warmest day we've seen so far. Well, actually, since February. Remember that day in February that was 70? Get another shot at it tomorrow. So hour by hour forecast showing clear skies tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny through most of the day. And again, temperatures will start early, warmest along the coastline. Sea breeze, though, will kick in, so it'll knock temperatures down along the coast, while inland locations still have a chance at 70. But it's not all fun and games. We do have another storm to talk about for midweek. We'll do that, guys, in just a few minutes.
Early details about pedestrians hit by a van in Toronto. Police say the vehicle jumped onto the sidewalk and mowed down several people. Police say 9 people have been killed, at least 16 are injured. It is not yet clear if this was a deliberate attack or if it was an accident. The driver is in custody.
After 34 hours on the run, police have tracked down and captured a man accused of murdering 4 people inside a Waffle House. Police say Travis Rainking opened fire inside the 24-hour restaurant around 3 in the morning Sunday. When the gunman fled, several people were taken to the hospital. 2 are still recovering from injuries. A manhunt started and the Tennessee neighborhoods were put on edge. The local schools were closed to visitors as police scoured the area. He was found today and, when surrounded, surrendered to police.
Today is a day where we can start to move on as a community, I hope. But I hope everybody will share a commitment that I have to help the families who've lost their loved ones and who are still suffering in the hospital right now.
Police say Ranking was also wanted for car theft early last week.
Alrighty, there is a brand new person in line for the British throne. Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, and Prince William welcomed a baby boy this morning. The Duchess waved to cheering crowds before the entire family left the hospital. The baby boy weighs 8 pounds, 7 ounces. This baby does have 2 siblings, Prince George IV and Princess Charlotte. I'm sorry, Prince George is 4. Princess Charlotte's about to turn 3.
Just an adorable family. Lots of you sending well wishes today on Facebook. You can see your comments at the bottom of your screen. A name for the baby has not yet been announced by Kensington Palace. It will be posted on an easel when the family is ready.
And backstage side, another heartwarming family moment caught on camera. Soldiers from Detachment 3, 2nd Battalion, 641st Aviation Regiment returned late last week from a deployment to Afghanistan. The small Bangor-based unit was gone for 9 months. Today, the main guard posted photos of the reunion to Facebook, saying welcome back and job well done. Absolutely.
All right, Lee, you know this pretty well, probably better than most people, that dogs are man's best friend, right? That's why you have so many of them?
Yeah, they can be, yep.
And there are a lot of officers out there that know canines are some of the best partners around.
Check this out. We posted it to our Facebook page with the caption, "Find someone who looks at you the way that this canine looks at his deputy." Well, Louise says this shows pure devotion. Susan says there is no greater love.
And Wendy says she's found someone or some dog that looks at her that way. And Samantha posted this photo saying she has her husband, but this picture makes her heart glow. Those are some serious puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, if I'm holding a treat, then my dogs are all, I mean, they will do whatever you want.
Talk about that. I don't have a food-motivated dog, so I don't know what that's like.
Well, that's all I have, so there you go. All right, Maine's Attorney General had a very noisy day at work today.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Activists are condemning the Attorney General for ruling a police shooting as justified. Her defense coming up next.
And police are hunting for a thief who allegedly stole donations for cancer research. Now you can help, coming up on Now.
Coming up tonight on 207, Dan Crew was the business behind his very successful music producer brother, Bob Crew. We're looking back on a conversation we had with Dan as he's honored tonight for his work here in Maine. Plus, the music of Jenny Van West on 207 at 7.
How about you listen to the public? Isn't that your job?
A heated exchange in Augusta today between a handful of protesters and Attorney General Janet Mills. The group was there to protest the officer-involved shooting of Chance Baker in February of 2017.
Baker was shot and killed by a Portland police officer after reports of him drunkenly stumbling and waving a pellet gun in the parking lot of a shopping plaza. Protesters say Chance is another black man taken by police violence, but the AG says the shooting was justified.
He was a young black man. He was 22 years old. He was homeless. He was suffering from a mental health crisis. He's black. Like, those are no reasons to be dead. Black Lives Matter.
Justice for Chance is a grassroots group protesting the death of this 22-year-old at the hands of Portland police. None of them knew Chance Baker personally, but say they're disappointed that Attorney General Janet Mills found the use of deadly force justified.
Black Lives Matter.
On February 18, 2017, Chance Baker, homeless at the time, bought a pellet rifle at a pawn shop. Police say he stumbled out of that shop with a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit and walked around the shopping plaza carrying that air rifle. 3 different witnesses called 911 in 2 minutes' time, the last one telling dispatchers that Baker was definitely carrying a BB gun. 2 minutes and 35 seconds after arriving on scene, Sergeant Nicholas Goodman fired one fatal shot, a head wound. This shooting was determined justified because the officer believed Chance was a threat to the public. AG Janet Mills says the investigation has a narrow focus.
All we're looking at is whether the officers should be criminally charged, whether or not there's reasonable belief that they acted in self-defense or defense of others.
Black Lives Matter.
The protesters made their way to her office, demanding a conversation. When she came out and offered to talk to them, they refused.
You all are welcome to come in the conference room and talk with me, including the gentleman from the press. Do you want me to talk, or do you want to just talk at me? Goes out to I'm sorry, there's no dialogue.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
I'm happy to have a conversation, but I'm not going to engage in a screaming match with anybody.
Now, Maine Attorney Generals have never found an officer-involved shooting to be unjustified.
The Attorney General recently announced a new task force designed to investigate an increase in officer-involved shootings in Maine. Chance Baker's family told the Portland Press-Herald they do not believe race was a factor in his death, and that was Christina Rex reporting.
All right, still to come, every year they raise thousands of dollars for cancer research, but this year, a thief may have stolen at least part of that donation.
And my boys were like, "What, Mom? What happened?" And yeah, they were devastated.
Hundreds of cans and bottles gone. We'll have that story coming up.
We get one more day to play, and then it's revenge of the rain clouds. Your full forecast is straight ahead.
For the last 8 years, a family from Parsonsfield has gone around collecting cans and bottles, all to raise money for a local radio station's campaign to help find a cure for cancer. Now, last year alone, 2 children of the family helped collect almost 200,000 cans and bottles. That's nearly $10,000 worth of money for that. Now, this year's collecting campaign was off to a fantastic start, but then had a significant setback.
And my boys were like, "What, Mom? What happened?" And yeah, they were devastated.
It was a hard way to start the day for the Deshays family. At some point Sunday, a person or people walked into the trailer that sits in the yard at P.Y. Estes & Son and removed or damaged hundreds of bags of bottles that had been collected to donate to radio station Q97.9's annual Cans for a Cure campaign.
They went for the good bags.
Steve Estes found the mess when he arrived at work and quickly called his wife.
It's just very discouraging to have these boys work so hard, you know, to raise money for such a good cause and then have something like this happen. Just very unfortunate.
Bryce Deshays has been collecting cans and bottles for this cause since he was 3. Younger brother Riley joined the effort a few years ago.
Because it's fun and then it all goes to a good cause and we're helping people with cancer.
Walking into Shakopee Valley Middle School was hard.
It was pretty, heartbreaking to hear that.
The police will start looking for whoever may have done this, and if caught, Bryce has a message.
Please own up to it and return. So it just really hurts me for someone to do that.
While word spreads of what happened to these boys and to their cause, the hope is a rainbow shows up after this cloud disappears.
The lesson that Bryce and Riley are going to learn from this is that there are more good people in the world than there are bad people in the world. We have so many people who are like, how can I donate? How can we replenish what was stolen?
After school got out today, Bryce and Riley both went over to PYSDs to help clean up the mess that was made because, of course, they did.
This morning, mourners lined up outside the Bush Library and Museum in College Station, Texas. Mrs. Barbara Pierce Bush's gravesite opened to visitors today at 9:30. The line had formed hours before the doors opened. And this photo from Mrs. Bush's funeral is being shared all over social media. Former presidents and first ladies from both sides of the aisle united in their respect for the late Mrs. Bush. A lot of modern American history in this one picture. All right, we're checking in now with Keith Carson, who has the good job today, the great job today. We're all jealous of it. He's outside.
I hope you got the sunscreen on there, Keith. I'm worried about your well-being. Oh, a jacket. We're up to a jacket.
Yeah, I know. Well, it is Maine and spring, so we've cooled down substantially since earlier in the day. Our high temperature in Portland was 62, but I don't know, I haven't looked at the thermometer lately, but it definitely feels cooler than that, probably into the mid-50s, low 50s here. Got into the mid-60s inland as well. It'll be actually a little bit warmer as we head into the day tomorrow. You know, I mentioned before, you don't often see satellite pictures like we saw before, but it looks even better when you look at all these different cameras across Augusta, Bangor, Bar Harbor, just clear skies. Typically, this is something you see more in the fall, this just crystal clear, no clouds anywhere situation. Today, the last day of that. Tomorrow's mostly sunny, but we'll probably see a few cirrus clouds out there. How dare they mess up our beautiful pattern. Our storm system down to the south and west, this won't be here though until Wednesday. So this big ridge that gave us Saturday, Sunday, today, and will give us tomorrow will hold out just long enough until that rain on Wednesday does arrive. So hour by hour forecast, temperatures drop out of the 50s into the 40s and in some cases 30s by later on tonight. Tomorrow though, we warm up quickly, and once again we start with the warmer temperatures along the coastline, but then the sea breeze kicks in and inland locations take over. So I think tomorrow you'll see that sea breeze kick in even more fiercely than what we saw today, and then eventually that rain moves in as we head into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. Probably not quite as heavy as this model is depicting, but there'll definitely at least be some showers out there and periods of moderate rain through the first half of Thursday before we clear out, it looks like, Thursday late afternoon and into the evening. So back to reality there for a couple of days after a great pattern. I like what we're seeing though long range, and we'll talk about that in a second. High temperatures tomorrow, again around 60 along the coastline. Inland we've got a shot at 70. I think places like Freiburg, Sanford, the usual suspects there, towards Sebago. I think Bangor has a chance at 70 as well. I don't think they'll be super widespread and probably only for about an hour or so. But as you look into the mid and long range, the pattern is promising. We cool down a bit this weekend with some cooler air moving in for Sunday particularly, but then we ridge back out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it could be legitimately warm by mid next week. So not the 60 stuff, but warmer than that. So overall, the forecast not bad. Again, Wednesday and into Thursday aren't great. The weekend is mixed. A couple of showers in there on Saturday. Sunday, much cooler, a high only around 50 degrees. And it will be substantially windier there on Sunday than it is Saturday. But overall, not a bad forecast. I don't think quite as nice as it was this weekend. But Lee, I know it will excite you, and it's not a lock yet, that it could be really quite mild next week. And at that point, I can take off the jacket, and then you'll feel better about my outdoor live shots.
All right, on vacation next week, I guess is what Keith just told us. We should take that to heart. Great, thank you very much, sir. Just a few minutes left to vote in today's Pulse poll. Should employers have to provide paid sick leave? Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or open up the Pulse tab on our mobile app.
And while you're voting, let's take a look at today's That's So Maine moments. First, from the Maine Forest Rangers Facebook page, someone tried to smoke out a woodchuck but accidentally started a 2-acre forest fire. According to the Post, Monmouth firefighters managed to contain the blaze before it spread to a nearby apple orchard. No word on whether or not the person in question was able to catch that woodchuck. And oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Okay, from our viewers, this That's So Maine moment is from Southwest Harbor. A chicken in a hardware store. Wonder what he was looking for? Shout out to Steven for sending this our way.
Okay, now a snapshot that really captures the best part about life in Maine. A daughter and her lab taking a walk along the Kennebec-Messalonsky Trail. Thank you for sharing this one, Britt. Now, if you get a That's So Maine moment on your camera, please let us know. Post it on our Facebook page or just use the hashtag That's So Maine and we will find it.
I'm absolutely loving this. All right, you know who is so Maine? If we're talking about a who?
Oh, okay, yes. Tell
Cindy
me.
Williams.
That is true. That is true.
She has a look at what's coming up in our next half hour. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. Yeah, we got a lot of news coming up, including the historic Maine schoolhouse that was just burned to the ground. We're going to tell you why police say 2 men intentionally set that fire. That's coming up next. Also, is he the luckiest or the unluckiest man alive? Well, he's escaped a bear mauling, and then he survives a shark attack. That crazy story coming up in the next half hour. Back to you.
Time to buy a lottery ticket for that guy. All right, so the Pentagon doesn't always hold a rocket contest, but when it does, the prize is more than $10 million. Raindrops coming up.
Welcome back, guys. Let's take a quick look at our Pulse poll results tonight. 62% of you say yes, employers should have to provide paid sick leave. 38% saying no. We have more information at our website.
All right, one day we might all get to take a vacation to Mars, but we certainly have a long way to go.
Our military is trying to jumpstart to a space race in the private sector. Keith is talking about that today in Brain Drops. Keith?
Hey guys, yeah, there's a lot of value for satellites when it comes to military, not only surveillance, but possibly in the future to target weapons. So the Pentagon has created a prize of sorts, $10 million for a specific satellite launch. And what they're going to do is try to see how nimble these companies are. They're not going to announce where the launch site is going to be until a few weeks to about a week before. And then they're only going to tell them what payload the satellite has to deliver a couple of days before. So the idea here is, yes, you can launch a satellite into space, but can you do it wherever we want and put whatever we want into space in a short period of time? Now, you might think $10 million, probably not that much, and it isn't compared to the cost of launching some of these satellites. The idea, though, is if you do this right, you might get a bigger contract from the Pentagon, and we know there's a lot of money to be had there. $10 million, this can be yours. Now, guys, interestingly, flat earthers are offering $20 million if you can launch a satellite into space and show that the Earth is flat. So we'll see who gets it first.
I'm on that one. You know I'm all about that. All right,
exactly. News Entertainment at 5:30 starts right now.